Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Stream Street Day 163. The most exciting thing about 163 is it's 6 days away from our countdown to Stream Street Day 169, which is an important day. Hello, it's just me today live in the studio. I'm going to be discussing the faction list archetypes for Age of Sigmar, which I started on Thursday with the wonderful Mr. Jonathan Etland. That's the point of today's show, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. But I'm joined, thankfully, I'm never alone. I'm never alone when I stream because I'm always with the Twitch chat. My friends from around the world. I say friends. Sometimes it's like that brother kind of relationship where, you love each other, but you take any opportunity to take the piss, I think. Anyway, hello everyone. Lofthammer, yes! What a wonderful man. Very nice to see you in the chat. Pragmatic, War Machine, Ben Clapperton, sorry again. Hello to all of you. Thanks for joining me live. Owen Jackson, currently running the Hammer Time GT, where sadly we did the list review show yesterday. So if you listen to the podcast, my Hydro homies and my Bottle Bros, please stay hydrated. But also, you would have heard those lists yesterday. I can let you know right now that the Noblar list, my French professional list, unfortunately lost its tyrant very early. I think actually maybe even turn 1. So, unfortunately, what we've ended up with is the Noblars losing, which is sad. What up to Colonel Cabbage, Starl Ernst? Hope you are well. And also, well done to Colonel Cabbage taking out his first victory at the Hammer Time event with all of his Tuskor chariots. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have thought it? So, today's going to be a fun day. Thank you to everyone on the Honest Wargamer Patreon. Thank you very much for supporting me and the rest of the team. I want to say a big shout out to both Dan and the Fish, currently at the T-Sports Arena, where I've been earlier this morning, moving wood. Let me tell you, graft is not easy. That's all I'm going to say. Hello, Lee Bromley. Hello. So yeah, I've been moving some wood this morning. We've been talking about where we're going to put the boards, all sorts of stuff. We're painting up the bathroom. I don't want to ruin the surprise for everyone. I know everyone is very excited to know exactly what colour we are going to be painting up the bathrooms / toilets. It's going to be a kind of blue, turquoise kind of colour. I feel like it was quite nice. It's actually, can I just say, and I would like to anyone who's listening, so if someone like Hugh or Tim, Hugh from the Bad Moon or Tim from Magic Madhouse are in the chat, or if they're even listening back to the podcast, I tell you what, it's stressful picking colours for a room that loads of war gamers are going to be in. Because if there's anyone who's going to be critical of your colour palette choice, there's going to be a bunch of war gamers. Let's be real. Hated K-Dread, hope you're well. Hawkeye, there are more team vids coming out today. There is a team vid due today. That's actually next on my list of things. I was up early, moving wood into the venue, and then I have been just sorting out some team stuff, and then team videos later today. Go back to the venue, do the venue all day. That's my work today. I worked till the night time. Basically, I was there till late last night doing a Hoover. Actually, it's not even very technical what I was doing. I was just doing a Hoover. Right, you should make the door like a baleful realm gate, says War Machine. Listen, the fact that we have doors is a bonus, so let's just leave it where we're at. How's that sound? So hello everyone, good morning from Texas, W. Soren. Okay, so you guys ready? Are you guys ready to do this? This is going to be fun. So we are going to talk about faction stuff. You guys are basically helping me do work that I need to do for the Super Series so I can be a better commentator. If you guys didn't listen on Thursday, what we're going to do is talk about list archetypes. I'll give you a kind of headspace. Oh yeah, also if you did join me live yesterday and you didn't get caught up on Twitter, or if you listened to the podcast and again you didn't catch up on Twitter, the bird who was trapped inside the room tweeting at us for most of the show with Owen, turned out it wasn't a bird. It was a broken fan on my PC, which is a problem because this is the mainstream machine for the Super Series, so I'm going to have to get that looked at and fixed. But it wasn't a bird. But if you watch my reaction from yesterday, I was very freaked out, thinking I was going to have to catch a bird. But it just turns out that this PC is... the bird is a big fan of the show. That is correct. Aggression, can anyone help me understand how the ban works? Sure. There is a pack, Aggression 1234, on the tsportsnetwork.com website, so you can read through it. It's really easy. You can just read through the process and you can go through that, but I'm sure we can help you out with it. So one of the things that I have to do for the commentary is when the bans come in on the ban day, we are going to have to, as a community, you as the viewers, let's say me as the commentator, we are going to have to try and work out where these bans are coming from. I obviously haven't approached the teams. Next year, when we do the next Super Series, it's going to be way easier because we could have like interviews with team coaches or players or whatever it was on the process and what they went through and what they think they learned. There'll be some really great interviews I can't wait to do. But right now, I obviously can't ask all the teams and the coaches what their plans are because A, I don't want to accidentally reveal something, even if it's through kind of subconscious thought when I'm talking on air. Similarly, I kind of want to approach it from our angle. So we're doing it from our perspective because it might be different to the team coaches, and I just don't want. I want the teams to be able to like practice, in their own setup, and therefore we have to go through what that's going to look like. And I guess one of the really, the first ban phase is a week on Monday. It is a week on Monday. Don't get to me. Hello to Diachasm in the chat. Big love to you. So, when a ban comes in, you and I as the audience, or my co-commentator and the audience, we're going to have to be like, oh my God, what is, man, fuck you, buddy. Anyway, we're going to have to work out what the hell we're seeing. Let's start. Let's pick. So the way the ban process works is Team A, they will ban 1 unit, and then Team B will ban 2. So there's a lot that we can learn from there. And we kind of talked about this yesterday when we talked about the list archetypes. We talked about this. We said if you ended up banning, let's say you banned Plague Drones. I feel like you're going to bring a Nergal list. Plague Drones aren't a good enough unit that you're going to build a Nergal list around them so you wouldn't ban them. If you wanted to ban Nergal to effectively hit them, you would ban Blight Kings, I think. And so when we see Plague Drones banned, it means that you can't ban anything else from Nergal. So what we're going to see is this safety, like it's a safety ban. And so we are going to have to articulate, well, I'm going to have to articulate to you guys, and we're going to have that conversation that I think there's a Nergal list coming. And it could be a Thricefold Befoulment list, or it could be a Blight King spam list. And therein lies the interesting element. So before I get to that stage, I have to work out what those archetypes of lists are going to be, if that makes sense. So we're going to go through a bit of that today. You're going to hear my thoughts as I kind of just spew ideas at you. I'm very, very excited about doing this for 40k next year, for the 40k Super Series. I think it's going to be really fun. So I think some of the archetypes are so varied. Like, for instance, in Seraphon, you can ban anything in Seraphon, and they've still got a great list. Same for Marines, right? It's kind of really interesting fact that you can just ban anything in Marines, and they've got another answer. So some books do really well with it, and some books don't. So, it's okay, Aggression. Don't you worry about it at all. I think there are hybrid bans as well, Hawkeye. Bans that were both defensive and attacking. Could you give me an example and to why? Very interested in that. Winner Dave, big love to you. Do the whole team confer, or will the responsibility be with the captain? The whole team can confer. More information on that to come for the actual teams and how that works, but it's fairly easy. The whole team can confer, and I can just mute you, and you can just tell me a decision after you've had it. Obviously, the best version of this would be if the teams were in location, but for safety, for COVID, and generally just for practicality, the easiest option, obviously, is to call these teams in initially. You wouldn't want people. You want people to exposing themselves to each other as little as possible. And again, safety being our number one concern. If ever we don't feel comfortable at all, we're just going to pull the whole thing. Refund the teams, just pull the whole thing. That is our number one priority as a group. So, all right. So you guys, I got my Necromunda Ogres this morning. Diadrian, don't tell me that. You know I want to get into Necromunda. Not long. Super Series out of the way. Got it running. Then I get super crazy weird on Necromunda. So just Right, okay, so we're going to talk about some of the factions and what we think their list archetypes look like. So if Colonel Cabbage is still in the chat, maybe you could help us out. So we've got Beasts of Chaos. Now, they're not a very successful faction, but their list archetype, or the only successful way I think I've really seen... Oh my god, Chris Seaton has just joined us in the chat. Can't tell you how much I enjoy talking to him, having the occasional Pepsi Cola and pizza with him on a Thursday evening. Big shout to you. High level play, defense ban, and don't even bring that list. See? That is correct. Adam, the freedom fighter Mumford in the chat, everyone. High level play, defense ban, and don't even bring that list. So a good example would be when we take our plague drones. I ban plague drones, and it looks like then I'm going to defensive ban. So I've defensive banned Nergal. Then I'm going to bring Thricefold Befoulment, or I'm going to bring Blight King spam. So the opposing team prepares to fight that. And then lists go in. There's not even a Nergal list in sight. Not even a Nergal list in sight. That's the top level play. It's mental. For instance, if you wanted to take a particular build from a faction, but there's also another great build in that faction, you can ban one unit that is big for one build, but not the other. So an example like Hawkeye's making again, we'll retouch on Nergal, because I think Nergal's a really good one, because there are at least two well-known. You could also take Marauders. You could also take Plague Monks. I think there's a bunch of viable builds in reality. But if there's two archetypes we definitely know about, if you intentionally banned Blight Kings, you're like, right, Blight Kings, banned. Okay, all right, that's cool. That's cool. That means you're not going to bring Blight Kings. You're probably not going to run Nergal, but you might run Thricefold Befoulment, and it means you don't have to face Blight Kings. So you know that you've sorted that out. You're like, that one's out now. That's done. But I'm planning on bringing Thricefold. Do you know what I mean? So there's three tiers of tactics there, all in of themselves, which is wild. Ban Lotan, don't take heals. Yep. The main list archetype is multiple chaff units to block and outscore early. However, that's not how I play with Gavspawn, Cows and Gorgons. Yes, so Colonel Cabbage, that's exactly what I was going to put. So I was just going to put Goat Spam is the Beast of Chaos competitive build. And you can go back and listen to a podcast I did about that. Well, I didn't do it about that. I interviewed someone about it, and it's totally worth listening to. So go listen to that about how you just take enough gore that you can just flood the board and hold on, really. So the Butcher build. Is that what we're calling it? You just throw goats to the slaughter. Bland Blight Kings. Oh, hell. Gilly, I can't say that. Bland Blight Kings. Bleh. You can't ban Blight Kings because they are battle line. There we go. There's a good example. Thanks. If you ban eels, do you think you will have any Idoneth players? Well, I mean, the players are locked in, right? Get to the chopper. Big love to you. Big love to you. Hope you're well. Ban Aether Quartz Brooch. Darren will have nothing. Wow. Darren's going to take that badly. Yes, Meatball says mid-level defensive play. Ban a unit for the faction you want to play that counters multiple common lists rather than trying to get target single top faction, which is all good in a vacuum when it's just you doing it. But the opponents are going to be able to ban 5 as well. So Goat Spam. It's going to be very interesting. I hope you guys are excited for it. I'm excited for it. I'm excited about the deadline between first ban phase, first list, like the ban phase, and then list introduction. I think what's going to be really, really exciting is when you get to stage 2. So 2 teams have won their first rounds. They go into stage 2. They know what bans they did in the stage before. Then it gets real messy real quick. Okay, so Blades of Khorne. List archetypes for Blades of Khorne. So obviously all of them involve, in this situation, all involve Archeon. So he won't be one of the archetypes. Archeon is just Archeon plus. So, yeah, ban red. Agreed. It's still going to create some great content. Can't wait. Diadrain, that is the hope. That's the hope. It's designed that it's interesting for everyone to listen to, be a part of, and it creates story the whole way. So you can do some fun stuff with it. If you ban the Bloodthirsters, does it ban them all? No, each Bloodthirster has its own War Scroll Wargaming Dad. So you can't ban a keyword. You have to ban the War Scroll. For example, Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury would mean that you could still run the Bloodthirster of Incensant Rage. Don't need Archeon for Blades of Khorne. No, I don't think you do, but you could run Archeon in Blades of Khorne. You could run Archeon in all of the factions, so it's good. I personally would either take the Slaughter Priest or the Blood Secretor. Probably the Slaughter Priest. The Slaughter Priest is probably the best ban in Blades of Khorne, if I'm honest. But anyway, so Blades of Khorne archetypes. Obviously, you've got Bloodthirster build, which we've seen several times. So big Bloodthirster build. There's the Archeon build as well. I don't think the Blood Crusher build, as much as me and Owen wanted it to be a thing, was ever a thing. Don't think that ever works. Daedrin, I have thought about loads of versions, but we're just going to do this first version of the Super Series, and then we're going to crack it open and see what other versions we can do and do all of this. Hello everyone. If we could all do a big shout out to the big goldfish in the chat, who's currently at the venue building the vent table, so that's fun. Bloodthirster build goes around Slaughter Priest ban. It does, Gitley. It absolutely does. So there's a Bloodthirster build, which I think works. And I'm not really sure of other Khornate builds, to be honest. Oh, Juggernaut. So there's the Juggernauts of Khorne build. So that's a thing. They are very good. Juggernauts. And I am interested in... So there's also the Marauders. You can take a load of Marauders, but they're better in Slaves Darkness with the Mark of Khorne. But I think Juggernauts is also a build. But I honestly don't know any other Khorne archetypes. It's just whenever you talk to a Khorne guy, they're like Bloodthirsters. So is there a Bloodletter build anymore? Has anyone run one successfully? It's not been one for a long time. Mixed Mortal Demons. The Khorne Demon Prince is good with his ability to charge block stuff. The Mortal build is strong. Gore Pilgrims and Tyrants. Okay. Right, I'm gonna look at Mortal build, but that Mortal build is definitely based around the Slaughter Priest and the Blood Secretors, right? That's definitely where they're built around. So, AOS team, no Bloodletters are as slow as dwarves. They used to be fast, right? Skull Cannons are not one. Okay. Disciples of Tzeentch, DOT, ladies and gentlemen, DOT. Disciples of Tzeentch, obviously, Change Host build. Change Host. So, if you ban the Lord of Change, you ban the Change Host. You could ban the Flamers as well if you wanted to ban that out, which is a solid one. But Lord of Change is a solid ban. I think that works quite nicely. There's some outside picks as well. Fate Master's also a good ban because that gets you there's some real strength there. So, Change Host is definitely a build. And I don't know if there is any other builds, really. That's just so overpowering, the Change Host build, that what the hell else is anyone even running is the big question. And I can't think of any others. Carrick Acolytes, that's not a build. Zangor's not a build. Skyfires Enlightened aren't really a build, even if they're MSU, it doesn't really work. Sky Sharks, I've run that on TTS quite a few times. I really like that build, but it's not good. I think I'm the only one who's running it. So that would be loads of Screamers of Tzeentch. I think that's a build. Loads of Pink Horrors, that's a build. You put that in Change Host. I guess there's the Guild of Summoners as well. Change Host is it. I feel like it's Change Host only. I don't feel like there's anything else. Anyway, so that's DOT. I think that you can build a lot of different stuff in Disciples of Tzeentch. But, anyway. So then, Hedonites of Slaanesh. Oh, baby. Hedonites of Slaanesh. So the Lurid Haze build with Archeon. Big shout out to Nacor on that one. Lurid Haze build with Archeon is one. Archeon. I'd also like to shout out Aiden from New Zealand and just say, obviously the epitome, that's it, the contorted epitome. Did I get that right? Does anyone know exactly how you say epitome? Epitome. Is it epitome or epitome? Does anyone know? Yeah, Slaanesh probably won't make a showing, but the Keeper of Secrets is still good. Still good. It's just a bit more risky. I guess the real question. Second one. Wait. Epitome? Epitome. Epitome? Epitome. Still don't know. It's I pity you. It's good. It's a good one, Stal. I like that a lot. That's good. Oh dear. Epitome. 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 Okay, so epitome. Epitome? Epitome? Right, this is terrible podcasting. I'm sorry, podcasters. Epitome. Epitome is correct. Sure. Okay. If anyone wants to record themselves doing it at home and tweet me, I would appreciate that. Just dozens of people just... That's a real question. It's a real question. Everyone gets it wrong, and I don't think I've ever got it right, and I'm not sure. And I was too proud to ask Google. Okay. Next up. Oh, wait, sorry, Heat Knights International, I want to make sure I got this right. Lurid Haze Archeon, I think, is a thing. Maybe you've still got Keeper Spam. Maybe. You've still got Keeper Spam. Maybe that's still a thing. They've lost so much recently, though. Halalex, thanks for subscribing for 6 months. You have basically subscribed for most of the stream streak, which is pretty wild that it's been that long now, but it's been lovely talking to you guys. So Keeper Spam is still a thing. There's maybe also loads of Chariots. Chariots may also be a thing, but I don't really think that they are, if I'm honest with you. 4 syllables. It's Greek and Tamnian, means to cut. 4 syllables. Epitome. Epitome. Okay. That's when I found out about the channel. That's nice, Alex. Good. Thanks. Feels like you've known you for longer. I've known you for years. Right, okay. So, Legion of Asgore. No one's going to be bringing this army. I'm pretty certain. However, just so you know, there's Fireglaves spam, and there's Kadai spam. Is the 2 builds or the 2 archetypes that stuff is built around realistically. Maybe I don't even mean archetypes. It's like units that are built around and how they work into armies. I think Khorne's the more complicated one if you think about it. Whereas the Bloodthirster build works around banning the Slaughter Priests, whereas the Slaughter Priests and Bloodsecrators are very valuable inside the Mortal build. So if you ban off the demons, you still can keep the Mortal build. Whereas in Legion of Asgore, you ban off Fireglaves, that's fine. You could just take more Kadai, really. Our Fireglaves battle line, they are battle lines, so you can't even ban Fireglaves. So you could just ban Kadai. And there's really nothing else worth banning. I mean, you could ban the Wizard, but it's probably better banning Kadai. But just still, FYI, best army in the game is like 120 Fireglaves. Because it's just great. Although, actually, it's probably just better taking 120 Dispossessed now. You get them for cheaper, and you get more, and they're better. And they can have, those Dispossessed builds coming in really hot at some point. I don't know about anyone else. Defensive ban Asgore to Troll Rob. I'd like it if there's someone that played them. They'd be really good. So then you got Nergal, and we've talked a bit of this now already, haven't we? Nergal. So you can't ban Blight Kings, but you could ban either the Harbinger of Decay or the Harbinger of Decay or the other fella who gives you the 5-up DPR is the Smart ban. So that would maybe neuter the Blight King build a tad, but not loads. Not loads. But that's definitely a build. And the other one, obviously, is Thricefold. Thricefold Befoulment. Now, there are loads of options inside Nergal. If you wanted to build a Nergal army that can compete, it's just the Thricefold and the Blight King one just seems so much stronger. And Nergal just suffer a little bit at the minute. They've just got some issues. Yeah, Lord of Plagues, I think, is the one. Thank you. So yeah, Thricefold Befoulment is also another build, but you could put Plague Monks, even with how much they've had a kick in recently. You've obviously Glotkin gone down in points, and there's still something there. Glotkin, Blades of Putrefaction. Blades of Putrefaction on Plague Monks would be awful if you could get the spell off. Like, just so. And the army is way faster than you think it should be. Like, way faster. There's still, like, Centaur that can go in there. You can bring all the Beast of Chaos stuff in, and you can build a Beast of Chaos army. with Mark of Nergal, and then just like in Blades of Putrefaction to go wild. It's really good. So yeah, Lord of Blights for the battalion. Lord of Blights. That is the one. So that means you can't take the Blight Cyst, which is really important as well. So there are loads of Nergal builds. I think Nergal's one of the really interesting ones that you ban stuff off, you end up just with loads of other options. I think it's a good book. It's a really good book. Is it going to win you tournaments? Maybe not, because it just needs some like additional magical support, but it's strong. So then you've got Slaves to Darkness, STDs. Now obviously you can't ban Marauders. And then beyond that, probably your top ban is Be'lakor. But Be'lakor's like a plug and play in Slaves to Darkness. Be'lakor just fits in everywhere and does the job that Be'lakor does. So really it's the other stuff. Chaos Sorcerer Lord's a good pick. Chaos Sorcerer Lord benefits everyone inside Slaves to Darkness. But again, Marauders are kind of that key part, and they are battle line, so they can't be banned. Chaos Knights, maybe. Chaos Lord and Archetype, maybe. Probably the War Shrine's also another good shout. But there aren't really any like Slaves to Darkness archetypes because there are just so many builds. Now, I'm not saying there are loads of builds and you can win with all of the builds, but I think that there are loads of builds that you can apply in the game. If you ban the Demon Prince, yes, if you ban the Demon Prince, it's banned from the Slaves to Darkness book, but its War Scroll can't be taken. So therefore, you couldn't ban anything else from the Slaves to Darkness book, but you can't use a Demon Prince at all. So there we go. I definitely think that people will ban Be'lakor. I agree. Which is why I think if you see anything at all banned from Slaves to Darkness that isn't good, let's pick, I don't know, just something, an outside chance. I don't know. It's like the War Scroll doesn't exist yet. That's basically the situation. And then you have to build lists. You have to build lists with the idea that the War Scroll doesn't exist. Anyway, Slaves to Darkness, I don't think there's an archetype, is what I'm trying to say. Ban the Cypher Lords. There you go. Or Iron Golems from the Warcry War. I don't think they're battle line. So you ban them off, and then you've got Be'lakor safe. You've got Archaon safe, because he's from the Slaves to Darkness book. That's where Archaon's based. You've got, which is cool, because if you ban them off, you've given yourself Slaves to Darkness as a book, and you've given yourself Archaon to plug into another army, which I think is one. You could ban Archaon to use Be'lakor, though. You could. And you could ban Untamed Beasts. I agree with that as well. So that's STDs. And then the final one, so I don't think there's anything you can really do with that, is Skaven. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Storm Fiends is an archetype. That's definitely one. There's still Plague Monks. They're still an archetype. Like real big combat, I think is a build. But I think Storm Fiends is an archetype. I feel also that Warp Lightning Vortexes, Warp Lightning Cannons are an archetype. So with not being able to ban Battleline, what happens with units such as Skull Crushers, which can become Battleline if you took a Lord of Khorne on Jugger? Could you not ban Skull Crushers? You can get to the chopper. You can still ban them because they don't start out as Battleline. So they can't start as Battleline. So if they start as Battleline, they can't be banned. That's it. Can we ban the Rat Trap? No. I haven't made it so you can ban endless spells. I thought about it, but I don't think that. So that would be because I really wanted to just ban Spell Portal all the time. Or even just ban the Bellwind Vortex. I thought was also a good shout. That would make it really interesting. It's cool, right? Because what happens is, just to jump on it for a moment, is it gives the players the power to redesign the game a tad. But really what it does is it forces players, and these should be players who are like fairly competent at building things, like building lists. It gives them the ability to design something different, and hopefully as a community we end up with a different set of lists that we're seeing. Because when I still go and do, because when normal tournaments resume, or when we do normal tournament coverage, all of your big hitters will be back on the tabletop. They'll be playing, and so I felt like running our own tournament where we just replicated all of the lists that we would see at a normal tournament would just be doubling down. So in this situation, we're intentionally forcing the creation of variety, and therefore you guys see games played well by like players who should be good or good enough to play games well, but with different lists. So you got that variety. So you got skill cap high, and also list diversity high. So it's just like kind of this perfect world where you just see weird, because we do whenever we do live coverage anywhere in the world, it's always fun. You find the guy who's got the weird janky list, and you think, oh, what kind of like mastermind is this? It's like really fun, and it just turns out he just likes that stuff, and like he's kind of okay with it, but like that's not what he's there for. Whereas what you really want is that kind of like insightful, weird list that just like does really janky fun stuff, and then you just like everyone's minds explodes, and we walk away in this really really fun space. Silent Supreme says ban nothing, force games to be better at balance. I think we've all tried to do that, but it's not really designed to produce better balance. It's meant to produce diversity in lists and create a more interesting viewer experience for all of us. Also a more fun experience for the players, I'm hoping, because they'll end up, because some of the stuff that you could ban, if you ban something, let's say negative, then you end up banning a negative play experience, and then it's just got like a little bit more fun. Or maybe the guys discover new negative play experiences, but at least it'll be fun the first time. Unlike normal system, where Sava makes a good list and 100 people copy it. Yes, we balls. They need to hire Haywo, says Silent Supreme. He comes from doing ridiculous things in MTG, so he'll stomp out the stuff before it hits tables at AOS, says Silent Supreme. Okay, sure. Big love for Haywo Twitch. You guys should always check him out. We've got loads of love for that fella. Anyway, they're not going to balance the game because they've never tried one time. So, and it doesn't upset me at this stage. Doesn't upset me. I'm just along for the ride. So, Skaven. Ladies and gentlemen, Skaven. Stormfiends, Plague Monks, big hitters in the Skaven book. Obviously, you know I think Doom Wheels, but I don't think many people also think that. You could go for some really clever bans. So you could go for Verminlord Corruptor. That works quite well because then you're moving into affecting Legion of Chaos Ascendant at the same time. You could also do the Warp Seer. Also good for affecting Legion of Chaos Ascendant at the same time. But then if you do that, you still leave the really competent builds that are inside Skaven. So your Stormfiend, War Lightning, Vortex, and Arch Warlock units, which are really strong key components. You can't ban the Clan Rats off. Storm Vermin are good now, but I doubt people have got that many of them. But they're also really, really good. Skaven have got like a really wide book and a really deep book. So it's really hard to neuter the whole book for Skaven. Can we call the show when the bans are done Bandcamp? We can now. Yeah. Anyway, Skaven, really wide book. Skaven is probably the army that I expect to see most at the event. Last year, under the last GHB, when stats were running, big shout out to LLV, Skaven had one of the highest meta representations. They were like 8 to 9%, which is really, really high. They were like second or third most popular army, certain points in that for that entire year. Now that did start to drop off towards the end as new books came out, but I feel there are a lot of Skaven armies out there. It's a really competent army and it's really good. I feel like there are less Slaves to Darkness armies out there, which has got the same kind of like diversity. It's the same width as a book, but I don't think people have got as many of the key units for that book necessarily. So I think Skaven's a really hot pick for seeing a lot of the events, which I don't mind. I think that's really good. This one time at Bandcamp. He banned my Archeon, and then I couldn't play. Anyway, let's do some destruction. Destruction. Right, bless them. Bless their little hearts. So, Gloomspite Gits. The Gits. There is, so probably the most well-known build that we've seen do quite well was the kind of the mixed magic battery list, where we saw the Spiderfang Shaman on a Ragnarok behind a bunch of grots, firing off endless spells with loads of support. Now, unfortunately, that's been hampered a lot by the GHB, and only having 3 endless spells available. So I think that really does affect that build quite significantly. Nothing to do with bans. Grots are still a thing, but still not strong enough, I don't think, in reality. And there's obviously the new Jaws of Mork battalion as well, a lot of new stuff from Jaws of Mork. So what's going to be like, what is the archetype now for Gits? And the answer is don't think they have an archetype. I don't think they have an archetype that's big enough that you would bother to ban stuff. Like I said, the Grots ain't doms. No, they are. Grots are not magic doms. Grots are little magic subs, is what they are. Hawkeye, no, it's not happening on the show. It'll be a different show, bud. Anyway, so Gits, there are no archetypes. There are no archetypes. What would you ban in Gits? Great question. I don't know. I don't think that you would. I mean, maybe Snufflers. Snufflers really benefit the whole Gits army. They're a thing. Jenk says Manglers are kind of the only always take. Yes, but in the kind of like more effective build that we saw last year run, there were no Manglers pretty much in those lists. It was almost often the Arachnaroks. So the Spiderfang Shaman on the Arachnarok, I think is solid. There's some points drops on the other spiders as well. I don't think enough. There were some minimal drops to the Rock Guts and stuff. Again, I don't think enough. So I think the strength is still the Gits element. So all of the Glue Spike Gits fellas, all the little grots. But I just don't think there's an archetype there, right? Scragrot or Fungoid Cave Shaman. You could ban them. But I think like Scragrot's kind of. I feel like Scragrot's something people are forced to take anyway. They're like, like if you ever listen to Gits players talk to each other, they just argue about like, yeah, Scragrot's really good, but like, why is he even there? Like all the time. Loonboss to get rid of the mortals is a good shout, and also Iron Gauntlet, great shout there. Ban the Fungoid from allies because obviously he's very useful as an ally slot. So yeah, but there are no list archetypes. So I think the interesting element is if we see any bans go into there as well. I think the shout out for the Fungoid so that it gets taken out of allies is a really good one. That would be why, but not anything. Sorry, Gits, fellas. Don't mean to be critical. I'm just trying to tell you the truth about the game as I see it right now. And that's as I see it. You may not agree, which is fine. Little quick health check. Doing. How's everyone coping this weekend? You all good? You all good? COVID got you down? Or are you feeling confident? Real sad news today about an actor passing away, but I've just been watching some videos earlier. Classy individual. So that's sad. But is everyone all right? Just a quick health and check for everyone. COVID got me painting, says Matt Readiness. Good. Has everyone got anything on their desk? If you listen to the podcast, just know that you're loved and you're well, and just want to make sure you're okay. And it's okay to not be okay. Some days you're just sad, and that's fine. You can't be happy every day because that means you can't appreciate being happy. That's all right. So we all good? COVID has really got me down this weekend, says Gilly. Oh man, I'm really sorry. Maybe if you get the chance, go for a walk, which is something I do when I need to de-stress. Or I watch Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights is the other way that I de-stress. And if you guys are listening from all around the world, that is a TV show about a working class fella trying to run a nightclub. It pretty much reminds me of my entire life. Aggression. I have plenty of water and blood angels on the paint table. Yeah, baby. You go after it. Gitley, I hope you're okay, man. And if you ever need to talk, just let me know. I'm painting Lumineth ahead of them surely going on pre-order next weekend. Okay. Not long then. Not long. Trying to paint but not feeling the scheme. Pissing me off. Yeah, I felt that about my Death Guard. I've done like the trim in like a bronze, and now I want to do it in a green, and I hate myself. So yeah, I completely feel that. I'm assembling Morghast Harbingers from Legions of Gash. Come on. Come on. They got cheaper. I don't think they've got a really cool battalion in Ocr Bone Reapers with the Stalkers, which I like. I don't think anyone else in the world likes them, but I like it. Aggression Phoenix Knights is a good shout. It is a good shout. That should help. Hey, Trully, hope you're well. Assembling all the snakes as FL Mongoose. Oh, for Daughters of Cain. That's awesome. Do a workout. The endorphin hit is amazing. I agree with Winner Dave. Even just going for a walk is big endorphin hit. Do a push-up. Big endorphin hit. Put some tunes on as loud as you can and do a dance. Also big endorphin hit. If I could suggest anything, to dance to right now, it would probably be Careless Whisper, George Michael. There's no way you're not dancing to that. Yeah. Anyway, that'll cheer you up, I think. Catacrozian Deathglaive is legit. Is that the battalion, Owen? Yeah, I'm into that battalion a lot. I think it's the one. Halalex, I'm attending a 24-person AOS 3-game event tomorrow. Would you be interested in lists or stats? Halalex, yes, I would. Please do send that to me on the Sunday evening. Just DM me on Twitter or the Honest Wargamer at the honest-wargamer at gmail.com. That's it. You need Death Guard Bronze for contrast with green-white. Stick with it. Death Guard Bronze for contrast with green. Yeah, anyway. Thanks for the support, gang. Club Tropicana. Yes. Oh, yeah. Club Tropicana is a great shout. Great shout. Oh. Anyway, right, okay. Jump Around by House of Pain is also a good one. Jump, jump. Although if you DJ enough, you do get sick of that song, but it is a great shout. Some notable things. There's going to be an actual Corn Dragon. Ooh, 4 OBR lists. Nice. 2 Legion of Grief lists. No Seraphon. Oh, it's the dream. It's the dream. I don't know what I want to end first. COVID or the Seraphon Menace? I can't decide. Do get down here and let's make a bar together. That will cheer you up, fella. There you go. All right, okay. Copacabana and Barry Manilow is a little alarming. That's fine. All right, so let's move on. I'm just checking on you all, and I'm glad you're okay. But if you're not, and Gitli, I can see you're not, always reach out to us, okay? That's always the one. And we'll just do stupid shit together. Tell jokes. I don't know. Or just be sad. Just hang out and be sad. Right, so, where are we up to? I've lost myself. Oh, yeah, we're doing destruction. Gits in a terrible place. Bless them. Right, more tribes. More tribes. Okay. So what build do they have? So they do have the best build in the house. La Franche. The pièce de résistance de list. The 300 grots. Yum, yum, yum. 300 grots. Eat a mud. Lovely food. That's meant to be French. So 300 grots is an archetype. They're not battle line though, so you can't ban them. Oh, is it? I didn't know Club Tropicana was offensive. Oh, sad face. So, it's just old people in it. So more tribes. So there's the grot list, and there is, of course, the Stonehorn list, which is just Stonehorns all day long. Now, I think that there's also a scrap launcher list. I'm just going to know with lead belchers and iron blasters. The iron blasters were a mistake. Should never have done it. It's a huge mistake, and I completely got it wrong. But scrap launchers, hello. Because if you're going to throw rubbish, what better way to do it than via a launcher? Plou de knob, nobla de ploop, pomme de la terre, pomme de la nob. I really want to hire a French fella to do list review shows with me, but sit silently, in another screen, and then just go to him. I'm like, okay, so we've reviewed that list. What do you think, Chef Francois? And he's like, shit, it's shit. I don't like it. And then he just cut. Right, okay. So more tribes have got the grot list. They've got the Stonehorn list. Is the kind of more tribes build. All right, we're nearly there, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. So now we're on to death. We got Flesh Eater Courts, we got Nighthorn, and we got Legion of Nagash, and we got Bone Reapers. So Flesh Eater Courts have got a variety of kind of builds, but they almost always center around a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. Almost always, which is a really solid build. Part of Sheffield Slaughter, Scrap Launcher, Kill Terrorgeist, never forget. I will never forget. I think Scrap Launchers are good in Underguts. Listen, Who is it? Cylon Supreme, big fan of Halo Twitch. Tell him I sent you. Tell him that I said lead belchers are medium to... I can't say that they're good. Medium. That they're medium, and he needs to stop being salty about them. They are arguably rubbish. I think they're medium. I'm just going to go for medium. Anyway, Flesh Eater Courts. Flesh Eater Courts are normally built around Ghoul King and Terrorgeist. The Arc Regent is the right pick because his War Scroll spell affects most of the army, whichever of the builds you go for. So I'd ban the Arc Regent, not the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist would be my ban. But there isn't really an archetype. Normally, you feature a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, but there's other builds that we've seen. Big shout out to James Tinsdale for running a ton of ghouls at Bloodshed at the Shire, which is a cool little list that I think he went 4-1 with. And at Sheffield Slaughter, Bloodshed in the Shire. So loads of ghouls in Feast Day, potentially, maybe Blisterkin. So there's also a build around that, which is quite fun. But again, the Arc Regent, key component in that list. So there's something there. Prepping 40k games against Guard Marines this afternoon. I think it was one of those games that's going to be better than the other. Scott, I think you're in trouble, buddy, against the Marines. So I don't think that there is really an archetype for Flesh Eater Courts, is what I'm trying to say. And I think you could do a bit of everything. So I don't really feel that. Tabletop Journeys. Recently discovered your podcast and YouTube channel. I think your content's great, dude. Thanks, man. Don't tell too many people, though, because we're trying to keep on the down low. Just us. You're in that now. Oh, and also, well done. Stay hydrated. Just don't let anyone else be a part of the, shh. It's like Fight Club, only weirder. Maybe not as weird. Quite weird. Let's go for that. If the T-Sport stuff takes off, I might just make this subscriber only chat, no YouTube anymore on the honest-wargamer. Just put stuff on Patreon, just us as a team. Just close it down. It's this is just us. It's for fans only. Anyway. Right, Nighthaunt. Did Nighthaunt have a build? I guess I could for FEC. I could just put the ghoul spam is one. And again, that was Morgan, right? Yeah, Morgan. And then obviously you've got, the most famous FEC build is, of course, Gristlegore Dragons, which is still good. Still really good. Is it good with the amount of shooting that currently exists in Age of Sigmar? Probably not. You lose a lot of it, I guess. No, don't worry, I'll never get rid of it. I like the YouTube comments. Big shout out to all my YouTube guys. Thanks for leaving the comments. Noops, big love to you. Adam Jackson, big love to you. Any of you guys, thanks for leaving those YouTube comments. Nighthaunt have the shelf build. So, Nighthaunt, what archetypes do they have? Let's get into it. None? So, MSU, okay. So, obviously, Legion of Grief is a good Nighthaunt build, but we've got to skip that. If we're talking pure Nighthaunt, probably Banshees. Let's look at some of the top builds. Seraphon. Seraphon is going to pretty much always have some endless spells. The Banshees will be able to take advantage of that, at least. Reapers, Chain Ghasts, I think. Played FEC last week, says Wargaming Dad, and shot them off the table with my Grey Water Fasteners. Wow. Blade Geist Revenant spam. There you go. Yeah, Blade Geist. I think the problem... Yeah. I really like Banshees, by the way. I think, I know it's not a 5-0 list, but I think Banshees in a team list is a good pick, because if you can put that into the right matchups, then you can really, really buff those Banshees up. And they're ethereal. They can ignore, there's a lot of rend out there on that shooting, but they can just skip it. Yeah. Would you ban the Dreadblade Harrow to keep from the teleport summon? Yeah, probably. I wouldn't go after any of the main characters. But again, we talk about how much we're going to be affected by Teclis's spells to spend 2 command points. It's going to be a big deal. Catacross is obviously, we'll talk about it in a minute, we'll talk about Bone Reapers, but really, really good. Kurdos Valentin, or I think that's how you say it, has had that ability for ages, and it's actually really devastating. Is it worth the points that you pay for him? Absolutely not. But it's still there, and it can really mess stuff up. Yeah, I think you're banning for Legion of Grief, which in this situation means Banshees, I think, anyway. That's what I reckon. So, that's Nighthaunt. That's Nighthaunt. That's Nighthaunt. And then, Legion of Nagash, Bone Reapers. Legion of Nagash, Bone Reapers. So, Legion of Nagash is basically everything. What you would ban? I'd probably ban Necromancer. That's a good one to ban because it really affects the army and is always in the list. Definitely ban the Necromancer if I got the opportunity. Or the Corpse Cart for those pluses to cast. One of those two are the ones I'd ban. What do we see as an archetype? Normally, it's those 2 models with something in front of them. Maybe it's skeletons. Maybe it's zombies. Probably not zombies. Maybe it's Chain Gas. Maybe it's Blade Geists. No, not Blade Geists. Chain Rafts and... Oh my god. We literally have seen so many of them. I've forgotten their name. Like a ghost. Like a coup. Grimgas Reapers. Thank you, Winner Dave. So, Grimgas Reapers. Might see a load of those as well. So, it doesn't really matter about banning. You can ban Grimgas Reapers. You do the same with Chain Rafts, basically, or with Skeletons. So, the key part is to ban the units around them. So, the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon is a good one. But he, like Hawkeye saying, and I think that's a good point, you're not going to see the VLOS anymore because well, maybe you won't, but it's not anywhere near as survivable now. It doesn't have the Ethereal Amulet, which I think is the thing. Hey to Aaron Wilson, AOS. Well done on winning your first game of Hammer Time, first round of Hammer Time. Good luck on round 2. Obviously, pushing those Seraphon around, got to be tough. An uphill battle, let's call it that, but good luck. Yeah, okay, so Hawkeye, you can't ban Grimgas Reapers. So I think the Necromancer is the right thing to ban, but the archetype is always a survivable character. But will you see Legions of Nagash? Maybe you'll see, like, multiple characters. I'm not sure. It's a lot of shooting now to take out those characters, which you need to summon the units back in Legions of Nagash, so... Right, anyway. So, yeah, Legion of Nagash again. I don't think they have an archetype. Well, I do. I think it's Necro plus stuff. Plus stuff that you recycle. Whatever that might be. I think is the archetype, generally. So, last but by no means least, of course, the OC Bone Reapers. So, very different now. I think that there is a Staliarch build. My favourite, possibly my most recently like jonesing for list is to run Staliarch Nagash. I think that's definitely a build like really into that. And you can't ban the Death Riders, their battle line. So you can ban Nagash to try and get rid of it. But I think that's one. But then that's Staliarch Nagash is the side pick. The main pick obviously would be Catacross with your normal stuff. In that case, you will have your Mortek Guard and you'll have your Crawlers as well, like in that build. So it'll just be all those key elements. So you can't ever ban the Mortek Guard either. So it's either Catacross or Crawlers. And I think Crawlers probably is a bigger pick because it really affects how the army's going to play even more. So I think, so there's basically a Catacross plus Guard build. And then I think that there's Guard plus Guard plus Crawlers build. And it's just anything that you want to add on top, really, is the build. Banning Crawlers accentuates the negatives for OBR's movement. I agree with that absolutely. Furious Bumblegoose. Look at you jumping in. What up? Hawkeye or Liege Kavalos. Kavalos is in most armies. I agree with that absolutely, just because of that command ability. But you do get the command ability from Catcross, so you can drop the Liege if you ban that off, right? And then, is that right? Yeah, I think Catcross has got that ability too. Bone Shaper is a good pick because he features in so many armies and fills out the popular battalions. So there you go. There's a bunch of ways to deal with those. Like, so the Bone Shaper wouldn't affect. That's why I think the Staliarch's the side list, which is the one that you can pivot into. Because it just requires Death Riders and it just requires Nagash. And I like that list. I think that list is strong. Is it 5-0? Maybe not. Is it strong into some lists? Absolutely. Big fan of that. I think Crawler has to be the ban. I think a lot of people... I think if you see anything, I think you might see things like Stalkers banned in OCRs, trying to bring those... so you can bring the Crawlers... The safety band in OCRs, I think, is going to be a big one. Yeah. Justice for Petrifex. I think we're okay with it happening. All right. Thanks, gents, ladies, team. We've cracked it. Well, I've cracked it at least. I feel like I've had like a good and healthy conversation with you guys, at least. Which I'll be doing. I'll be having these conversations as well anyway, behind the scenes with my with people who I know over voice chats and stuff. And I might record those and put those in as some content as well, which will be a lot less presentorial like this. Is that a word? There'll be a lot less presentation anyway. And it'll just be more shooting the shit because there's some real interesting side lists, which I think that are available. And that's the thing I'm most excited about seeing. Like the Staliarch Lord list with Nagash, the one I'll just touch on for a moment, is a list I just super want to see play. Like it's real unique. Like it's been run before, but I just think it's a fun build. But that's why I really like what they did with Petrifex, is they created list diversity. That's what I'm hoping the ban phases do. They create list diversity, which is more interesting for us to see. Hawkeye, you will get that information publicly soon. But it would make sense if it was just before the Age of Sigmar show, right? Though Kark is essentially banning +1 safe from the nearby army, which is huge. Yeah. Thanks for Wargaming, Dad. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm sorry it's just been me chatting. I've enjoyed it, and I find it very useful to just have this conversation out loud. And sometimes I feel like when I bring a guest on for something that's just something that I'm doing, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like if I'm talking to a guest, it should just be mainly those talking. So this is a great opportunity for me to talk and a great opportunity for me to learn while I'm doing that, because that's basically how I learn. I learn by talking, so that's good. Oh, man. Tabletop Journey just created a Patreon account, especially to show love for the podcast. Thanks, man. Thank you to everyone on the Patreon. I honestly couldn't live without you. I know you guys, like, you don't quite get what everyone else gets. Maybe, I don't know, like, some unique battle report or stuff. But when the venue's built, we could do that, like, for Patreon guys and stuff. But I hope you guys feel like it's worth supporting me and the team and going down this journey together. So I just want to say a big love and thank you to you guys. And I want to say a massive love to everyone on the podcast and everyone on YouTube and, of course, the Twitch chat. Twitch chat today would have been nowhere near as interesting or fun if it was just me talking to myself. So thank you so much. Like, look at you guys. Hawkeye, Owen in the chat, still leaving me with some OCR goodness there. Tip-Top Journeys, I'm glad you could join us. Wargaming Dad, Halalex, I can't wait to hear about the news from your tournament tomorrow. The event tomorrow is 2 Catcross Mortis Praetorians, 1 Staliarch, 1 Null Myriad. Makes me so happy to see a healthy spread instead of 4 Petrifex. Couldn't agree with you more. Big love to the big goldfish. Fuck you, buddy. War Machine, glad you're here. Yes, Meatballs. Thanks, buddy. You look after yourself. Anyway, Aaron Wilson, good luck. Everyone who's at the Hammer Time event, good luck. I can't wait to talk to Owen about that. Maybe we could do that Monday as part of the tournament wrap-up stuff, which would be fun. I'm going to go back to the venue now and do some work with the guys. It's going to be really fun to see those dudes. And yeah, tune in soon. Join me again tomorrow. Join me Monday for the Age of Sigmar show. Have a great weekend. And if you ever need anyone, reach out. Honest Wargamer crew. We might tell you to fuck you, buddy, but we all love you. So look after yourselves. Oh, Lofthammer. Yeah, you look after yourself. We'll see you all soon. Have a great day. Goodbye.